A minute past 6, time for your morning rush, and we're continuing to follow breaking news from overnight. Crews now investigating what started a wildfire in Crawford County yesterday. Planes were brought in to help firefighters battling those flames, and those aren't clouds, by the way, you're looking at. Those are plumes of smoke in the skies. The good news is the fire was put out last night. We have a map here for you to give you an idea of what we're talking about. The fire broke out in the area east of Stephen Bridge Road and Shaw Park Road. That's just east of Grayling. The fire burned for hours before crews were able to bring it under control. And before the fire was put out, crews rushed to evacuate people living near the fire. 75 families in all were finally able to return home late last night. Fortunately, there are no reports of any injuries. Only one outbuilding was damaged. 7 and 4's Rachel Schuett was there as firefighters worked to contain the flames.
The Michigan Department of Natural Resources reported the fire is contained just before 8:45 on Thursday evening. The fire spread to more than 100 acres. For much of the evening, Stephen Bridge Road, which is right behind me and off of M72, was blocked off and people were being asked to evacuate the area.
And I saw the smoke. You could see the smoke from town pretty well.
TJ Hart was out golfing when the wildfire started Thursday evening, and when he tried to get back to his house, he couldn't. Police went door to door and told people to evacuate.
I drove out to the road connected to our road, and they had it all blocked off and just told me, like, unless there's someone out there you have to go get, then just to stay away from it.
TJ's home was one of 75 that were forced to evacuate. People were told they could go to Grayling High School if they needed a place to go. Every fire department in Crawford County, as well as air tankers from the DNR, were on scene trying to get the fire out. How it started is still an unanswered question.
It's still being investigated at this time. It was reported by a passerby seeing the fire and the smoke in the area.
Crawford County Emergency Management says the winds caused the fire to spread quickly. TJ spent the evening hoping his home and his neighbors would be okay. Once he got to Grayling High School, he was told he could return home.
It's a pretty big relief. Yeah, I'll be able to call my dad, let him know everything's all right.
Crawford County Emergency Management tells me that there will still be smoke in the air for the next 2 to 3 days, and the DNR will still be out here on the scene for those next 2 to 3 days until all of the hotspot fires are out and the smoke is gone. Reporting in Crawford County, Rachel Schuett, 7 and 4 News.
And of course, we'll let you know the cause of that fire once it's been determined. And stay with Up North Live for the latest details on this developing story.
Oh my God. You're telling us to get something to drink, yo. Please cover your faces on the way in. You can take them off at the table.
A mad dash as Bradys Bar in Traverse City opened their doors to customers for the first time in months. Now, those in line were allowed in right after midnight, but there are some restrictions in place. Only 20 people allowed inside at one time. They must wear a face mask until seated at the table. Staff must wear a mask at all times. No sitting at the bar for right now. And the biggest change, no tourists.
We've flattened the curve. This area has worked super hard. And we've had, what, 23 cases total? I think it's because we've worked that hard, we deserve to continue to feel safe. And I would like to keep my staff and my customers as safe as I can. And I'm asking that people from downstate don't come in until they're either quarantined or their areas are also opened up.
Brady says they're a local bar. They'd like to keep it that way. They hope those coming up from downstate for the holiday weekend will respect that. We did also touch base with some of those waiting in line to get inside about how they felt about Northern Michigan reopening.
I've definitely had concerns about all businesses and with the tourists coming and everything, so that's why I'm here. I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it, but I'm like, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can get in. It's crazy, so that's what I'm saying. Why would you miss it? You know, like, okay, this is like a historical moment almost, like where everybody first comes back out and we're allowed to be open.
Brady's is asking everyone who pays a visit to police themselves to make sure they're practicing social distancing guidelines.
Now, to keep everyone safe this Memorial Day weekend, Traverse City has set up hand washing stations in the city. 9, in fact, will be placed in heavy traffic areas in and around the downtown area.
Northern Michigan restaurants and bars aren't the only thing reopening. Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore announced they'll increase recreational access at the park. Now, the park has been closed since mid-April, but as of today, parts will open again. That includes park trails, picnic areas, and boat launches, along with, of course, the dune climb if you're looking to get in some exercise. The Pier Stocking Scenic Drive will also be open to foot traffic only. As of right now, the Visitor Center, the Maritime Museum, and the Manitou Islands Museum and Campgrounds will stay closed.
Pirates Cove Adventure Park in Traverse City, they're preparing to open their mini golf courses for the Memorial Day weekend. Workers were out on the course yesterday cleaning the greens and doing some gardening. And to keep social distancing, Pirates Cove is requiring all golfers to stay on their hole until the group in front of them is finished. Balls and clubs will also be turned in and sanitized after each use. Pirates Cove will be open Friday today through Sunday, 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. and Monday from 10 until 7.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer has announced she's easing some more restrictions statewide, allowing businesses to reopen next week. Gatherings of up to 10 will now be allowed, and starting Tuesday, retail and car dealerships can reopen by appointment only. Fast forward to next Friday, May 29th, veterinary services, including dog grooming and non-essential medical and dental services, will restart. The governor says as all of this is happening, it's important for us to ease back in.
It's been hard, there's no question, and people are itching to get out and resume life. But if we let our guard down now, we could be in store for a second wave.
The current stay-home order expires next Thursday, May 28th, but another extension is likely.
We now continue our coverage of those floods in and around Midland. President Trump has signed an emergency declaration for Midland County, and that opens the door for federal recovery funds. Jasmine Durham from our sister station has more.
Good morning. Now that the water has started to recede, that cleanup process is really beginning. We're here in downtown Midland right now, and yesterday we couldn't even see anything out here. It was still completely covered in water. Now we can see the ground, a lot of mud, some debris and things like that left behind. But this is what a lot of residents across Midland are seeing as they begin to return to their homes. But some are really devastated by what they are returning to. We've seen a lot of damage from the street view, but now as families go into their homes, they're really getting a look at what's been left behind. Many were forced to evacuate at a moment's notice, grabbing only clothing and a few necessities, leaving behind some precious items, some of which they may never see again. People have basements filled with water to the ceilings, debris from the lakes now in their backyards, and then you've got the people that don't have a home to return to, and that's because it's been swept up by the floodwater. We had a chance to talk to some of the residents as they begin to clean up.
Came home and 2 feet of water, and this was just all debris. We've cleared the best we can, but this table was on our patio, and it's about 250 pounds, and it crashed through the door wall, and this is where it ended up.
We don't have the worst. This is one of the better neighborhoods, and that's sad to say. People had homes washed away. I have friends whose homes got ripped off the foundations and swept into the river.
Despite the tragedy, people in Midland, along with people all over mid-Michigan, are really coming together to help out, volunteering to help families clean up their homes, and there's been a huge outpouring of donations. But there are still some families that can't get to their homes because those roads are still inaccessible due to that water. And officials say it could be Memorial Day before the water recedes enough for others to go home and for them to really assess that damage. We're here in Midland. Jasmine Durham, back to you.